2021 Arnold Classic brought to you by High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. So I did a little wrap-up immediately after the judging. Had some issues with the internet in that place. Was not cooperating, so here we are. So judging is over. It's been over for a good hour and a half at this point, 2 hours almost. And it is looking like Nick Walker is the heavy favorite to win this show. And if I was going to gamble some money, I'd probably put some money on Nick Walker as the winner. I know a lot of you guys have him as the clear winner. I don't think he's blowing Steve Kuklo out of the water by any means. Steve is an excellent bodybuilder. He came in peeled, better than he was in Texas. Maybe not as full, but he needed that extra bit of condition, which is how Ian Valliere got ahead of him in Texas. So Nick is probably beating him in where I see it mostly from the back. Nick Walker's rear double bicep is just insane. It's one of the best in the sport right now. We'll talk about Terrence. We'll talk about Classic. I want to get through that. So the first call out was a little bit surprising, only because going into the show, predictions are meaningless. I say this all the time. Nick bicep peak if mad. Yeah. So predictions are based on what we think is going to happen, what they've done in previous contests. Akim Williams came into the show the highest ranked Olympia competitor. He was 6th place at the Olympia last year. So I've been following him. He looked like he was right on track to possibly win this. And in most of my predictions, I had him as a very strong contender. He was not in the first call out. First call out was, of course, Nick Walker, Steve Kuklo, Ian Valliere, no surprise, and Justin Rodriguez. Justin looked phenomenal. I didn't have Justin in my predictions, either of the ones I did with Giles Thomas or Jose Raymond, as being a front runner to win this. And I still don't have him winning. Who's Akim Williams' coach? Abdullah Al-Tabi. That's who. He was working with Justin Miller briefly when they won the Puerto Rico Pro in the Bahamas a few months back over the summer. And he is now with Abdullah. But Akim's condition was not where it needed to be. Hopefully he can fix that for the Olympia. But today, Nick Walker came in looking spectacular. As good, probably a little better than he was in New York Pro, where he won and qualified for the Olympia already. So he didn't even need this win for the Olympia qualification. Kuklo does. What are you saying? Would you say that Nick has the best arms in bodybuilding right now? I don't know. There's a lot of guys with great arms, man. There's a lot of guys with great arms. Nick's arms are phenomenal. But, Akim Williams got great arms. I'm just talking about this particular show. Sergio Oliva Jr. has great arms. Hassan Mustafa has great arms. There's a lot of great arms in bodybuilding. Finals are at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. So Steve gave up a little bit of his size and fullness for condition. Nick Walker was looking like a man on a mission, yeah. Yeah, Nick's phenomenal. Nick, 27 years old, and he's probably going to be, told you Ian would be off. Yeah, Freddie, Ian condition, it's not like his condition was off. He's a little flatter. Why? Who knows? You could expect Nick won. Well, he didn't win yet, but, a few hours from now could be very much the case. That's $130,000 in his pocket. Didn't need the qualification for the Olympia. The only people that really needed this show to get into the Olympia, Sergio Oliva Jr. is not qualified for the Olympia. Steve Kukla is not qualified. Ian's already qualified. Akim's already qualified. Hassan's already qualified. Max Charles, no. What are you saying? Thank you for doing great coverage. Thank you. My wild card statement. Yeah, Jen Geraci from MD said Nick was the wild card. She had Nick winning this all along. So, Jen, your predictions are getting better and better. You're typically right on track. Steve gets second and special invite. I don't know if they're going to give Steve a special invite to the Olympia. I don't know. They can. They can invite anybody they want. They can invite somebody that hasn't even competed this year. Hassan been competing at every show, yeah. Hassan's body is looking just beat up. He can't rest. He's got the Olympia in 2 weeks. But, man, he's done every show almost since the Indy Pro at the start of the season. So because I have great teachers like you, Giles, and Steve. Thank you, Jen. Hassan needs to shut it down, man. And what a physique, but he needs a break. Points difference only between Nick and Steve. Sergio looked good. Sergio looked enormous. He's definitely bigger than he was a year and a half ago with the last time we saw him compete. Watery, he definitely was holding a ton of water. He made a post, and he's right. Half of the show hasn't been judged yet. Ron looked big during the interviews. Thank you, Freddie. Half of the show still remains to be judged tonight at 7 p.m. So Sergio comes in with all that water gone, nice and sharp, crisp. He could definitely move up because right now I don't know where they're going to put him. Like I said, that was the first call out, but the only people that didn't have to come back out and get looked at were Steve and Nick. They brought back Ian had to come out with other guys in the call outs. So did Justin, and they were in call outs with Sergio Oliva Jr., Akim. So Akim or Sergio, they have a chance if they really sharpen up. They could move up. You know, one of those guys could be as high as third. They could get past Justin theoretically. Justin's right on track. Sergio dry. Steve needs he needs to be dry. Steve needs a burger and fries. Yes, Steve's a little flat for sure compared to what I've seen. Lower back of Sergio is kind of absent. You know, there's not one perfect physique on that stage, guys. Everyone's got something. Nick clearly won. Everyone say look better. Preferred his New York Pro version. Midsection was much tighter. Yeah, you know, Nick does not have a tiny little midsection. He doesn't have a crazy V taper that way that the guys with the smaller hips and waist do. So to compensate, he did the only thing you can do in that situation, get wider. And, you know, his shoulders, his upper back, that rear double bicep of his, that's where you see a real crazy V taper. And it's not because he has a narrow waist. It's because he's built so much width and mass on his upper back and shoulders. Was Akeem off or was the lighting hurting him? He was off. I've seen Akeem much better than that. He's not off by much, but it doesn't take being off by much to get moved down in a show like this. Just Rodriguez will win? No. He will not win. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's the last call out, guys, was Nick and Steve, and head judge Steve Weinberg worked those guys relentlessly. They went through the mandatories. I think it was 3 times in a row. Justin was not if Justin was in contention for the win, it would have been 3 men up there, and he was not. And the only time that ever happens is if someone's a clear winner, and they'll bring out the guys that they want to look at for second and third. But Justin's a great guy, but great body, great physique. That twisting front double bicep shot of his it's one of the best double bicep poses ever in the sport. You're great. That's great that you're so supportive of Justin. Again, I love his physique, but he's not winning this. I'm sorry, he's not winning this today. Did Steve need more oil on the abs? No, Freddie. I think the deal is Steve doesn't have really thick abdominals. I don't know if it's a training issue, genetics, or what. He doesn't have those big blocks of abs like Nick does. And when you don't have those, it can look like maybe there's not enough oil or they're not defined enough. But the thicker your muscles development is, there's more space in between the individual muscles, and it looks more defined. Only one could beat Nick Walker is Dave Palumbo. How could Dave's not even a pro. Come on now. Dave had a great physique in a way. He was massive and shredded, but aesthetic structure was no bueno. In a show like this, he would have been in big trouble. So, yeah, man, it's most likely going to be Nick. What's that say? Message deleted. We don't talk about that guy. Sergio looked watery, yes. What are those big veins in Walker's calves? Any plans of competing? Yes, North America next year, over 50 heavyweight. What do you think of Mohammed El Aman? Yeah, so Milos Sarshev and I did a wrap up where he did most of the talking, which is good because look, here I am doing all the talking. We talked about Mohammed because he worked with Mohammed for this show, and Mohammed made a good comeback with his physique because when Mohammed started the season off at the Indy Pro back in April, he almost beat Justin Rodriguez. He almost won that show. He looked fantastic. Don't like Nick even though he's doing great. Then I saw Mohammed sort of fade at every show because he was going back and forth from Russia to the U.S., back and forth. And, it was a lot of traveling. I don't think he had a lot of help. He doesn't have a sponsor. And I thought, man, this guy just needs to shut it down. But he pulled it together. He looked much better here today. He could be as high as 6th place. We'll see. He's got a ton of muscle on him. That's for damn sure. What month is your Masters next year? Freddie, that should be early. That show is usually early September. Do you know Nick and Steve weights? I can estimate. Steve was about 285 in Dallas for the Texas Pro Show a couple weeks ago. I believe he's down to about 275, 278. Nick Walker, I don't know for sure. I know when he won New York Pro, he was right around 250, and I want to say he's a little over 5'6", maybe 5'7". Yeah, I'll do a vlog on my prep. Don't worry. You'll get sick of me pretty soon talking about my... One thing I wouldn't do during prep, and if any of you guys know who you are, it's those videos, those Instagram stories and Facebook stories with your damn feet on the pedals of the steppers or the elliptical. And then you got the time, 5:30 a.m. How many calories you burned? Please, please don't do that, guys. It just drives me nuts. What does Ian have to do to become third? Ian still might be third. I mean, he was in that first call out. He was just flat, and being flat is something you can fix theoretically. Feed him. His coach Patrick, I'm sure they're working on a solution right now. They're probably trying their best right now in terms of food, liquid, fluid, whatever, to get him fuller, because that's what it was. Ian's condition, it looked like he was a little bit off from Texas, but I think it was just an issue of being flat. I just don't think he was full enough where the muscles are pushing out against the skin, and that makes you look more defined. If you're flat and the muscles are sort of sunken in a little bit, you don't have as much gap in between the muscles because they're not pushing out as much, so it looks like you're less defined. Lightning seemed dark on the stream. Yeah, you got some boogers on your left nostril? Do I? No, that's just my nostril, dude. But thank you. Ian is annoying trying to show his butt that much. Jen, in Texas, I had Kuklo and Clayhar ahead of Ian. Nick will definitely be top 5-0. Were you impressed with Fabian Mayer? Yeah. 0 bubble guts. Correct, Freddie. All right, you guys want to talk? We're going to move to Classic, guys. So sorry if you want to keep talking about Nick Walker. He's great. He's probably going to win. In the nose. No, I don't think so. I think that's his hair. Anyway, is what it is, guys. Milos thoughts. Yeah, Milos, just to let you know, there is a video going up very, very soon on this channel, and it's not done live on my phone. It was done with a professional, nice 4K camera, microphone, awesome audio, with Milos and I. Milos doing most of the talking, because I very much appreciate and value Milos's insights and opinions. He's got an eye for physiques like very, very few people in this world. How long from show? Finals are at 7 p.m., guys. Okay, let's talk about Classic. So, open discussion. Maybe we'll get back to it, but I do want to touch on Classic. So, going into this show, here's where Instagram wreaks havoc with predictions. I was looking at pictures of Brian Jones from Arizona, who was 5th place at the Olympia last year. He was the Chicago Pro Champ, and man, I thought he is just phenomenal. I was so impressed with Brian. Still am very, very impressed, but he was off. He was a little bit off in his condition today. And at a show like this, even though there's 10 men, there's not one slouch. These were 10 amazing Classic Physique professionals today. So first call out was the defending champion, Alex Cambronero. Logan Franklin from Texas did a great job. He was in that first call out. Courage Opara, who he's not on a lot of people's radar because he's pretty quiet on social media. He doesn't hype himself up. But Courage did this contest in 2018 and 2019, which were the first 2 years that we had Classic Physique at the Arnold Classic. And he was 3rd place 2 years in a row. He's very, very good, but underrated? Maybe so. Underrated because he doesn't, like I said, it's become an era where social media following, it can very much determine someone's visibility, popularity, obviously. If someone's got 1 million followers on their Instagram, if they have a great YouTube channel with millions of views, people are going to talk about them. People are going to be looking for them at the shows. Courage doesn't do all that. I think he does have a YouTube channel, but the guy's built, man. The guy's got a great physique. So, but we'll start with Alex. Alex and, God, Ron, come on, wake up. Terrence Ruffin. They were 1 and 2 last year, and they're going to be 1 and 2 again this year, but I don't know if it's going to be the same order. I have a strong feeling Terrence might edge him out this time. We'll see. They're both amazing. They're both excellent, structure, shape, proportion, condition, both on point. Condition-wise, I might give it to Alex. It's hard to say, but presentation counts for a lot of the score at the Arnold Classic. And Terrence Ruffin has incredible presentation. His posing routine tonight is going to be off the charts. There's going to be a $10,000 Best Poser Award given to both someone from Classic Physique Division and Open. So it's $20,000 up. and that comes from Dr. Morales, the guy who puts on the Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic with Sean Ray out in Hawaii. So Dr. Morales put up this money for it, and I don't know. Logan Franklin's a great poser too, so it's going to be Terrence Logan probably in contention for that 10 grand. But the win, I don't know. I'm friends with both of these guys. Not like we hang out or anything, but I like both people very much in terms of Alex and Terrence. But I think it's probably going to go to Terrence. But we'll find out tonight. Hey, Ron, left downtown Columbus. I don't know what you were saying. It's already disappeared. Bikini was boring. Thoughts for Nick for Mr. Olympia. Nick could do as well as top five. If he makes top five in his first Olympia, that's amazing. For a 27-year-old rookie, still very much a new pro, that'd be a great Olympia debut for him. So, like I said, with Brian Jones, he was not in the first call-out. First call-out was just those four men. It was Alex, Terrence, Logan, and Courage. Freddie, honestly, just left down to Columbus. Yeah, when they're that long, they disappear, and I don't even get to read them all. But you were just giving me your predictions, so that's fine. It's in the live chat. You guys can read whatever that gentleman's predictions were. So Brian Jones, Nick is smoking. Yeah, I knew you guys were going to keep talking about Nick Walker. That's fine. He's great. He's incredibly popular. Nick is bringing a lot of excitement to the sport because will be in the future of bodybuilding. He's got the youth on his side, not just because he's young, but I think the younger guys out there, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, you can relate a lot more to Nick than you can some of these guys who are in their late 30s or maybe even early 40s. You can't relate to people of that age. But someone that's closer to your age, and especially he's massive and built like a freaking brick shithouse. Yeah, I totally understand his popularity. And he's hilarious. He does these podcasts and videos and stuff, and his sense of humor comes through very, very well. So Brian Jones, like I said, he has 2 more weeks. He's already qualified for the Olympia. He could tighten up significantly. It wasn't like he was off by much. That commentary was a mess. Roasting Steve in front of Amanda. Oh, I didn't watch. Obviously, I was watching the show. I didn't see the stream, so I don't know what Arnold was saying. But I think Ruff needs to improve for the Mr. O to challenge Chris. I don't know. I mean, Bumstead's looking deadly. Chris looks better now than I think he did on stage last year. He made such a leap from 2019 to 2020. I don't think it's going to be the same progression, but I know one thing was that he found out last year that he was a little taller. They measured him a little taller, so I think he's allowed to be as heavy as 240 now instead of 230, which he was last year. So I don't think he's going to come in a full 10 pounds heavier, but let's say he comes in 5 pounds more pure lean muscle tissue in great condition. Makes a tremendous difference on a physique. So I don't know if anyone's beating Bumstead, man. Who's winning between Brian Jones and Fabian Mayer? Fabian looks really good. Fabian and Peter Molnar. I was really impressed with Peter Molnar too. But does it really matter at this point? If you're not in the contention for the top 3, I don't know how much it really matters whether someone's 4th, 5th, or 6th. A lot of times those places can be very interchangeable, and there's not a lot of complaints except for the fans of a particular guy who thinks their favorite guy should have been higher. Danny Unin looked really good too from San Diego. Danny brought it. Danny was in great condition. Love his physique. Logan Franklin, special shout out to Logan because, he could have been very, very crestfallen. He could have been mentally given up after Texas because that was a show he'd put all eggs in one basket trying to qualify for the Olympia. It was the last show he could qualify at, and he got edged out by 1 point by Robert Timms. What's your word? Who wins the Arnold? It's in the title of the video. It's probably going to be Nick Walker. Who's going to win the bikini? Man, you know what? It's either going to be reigning champ Isa Piccini from Brazil or Canadian with the nice, beautiful black curly hair, Mark Anthony's girl, Jennifer Dory. Jennifer looks fantastic. I would have a hell of a time trying to pick. Top 4 in bikini was in no particular order. The first call-out was Lorelei Chapados, another beautiful young Canadian, Jennifer Dory, Ashley Kaltwasser, who's won it how many times? 4 or 5? Maybe 4? Anyway, she's a multiple bikini Olympia champion, and reigning champ Elisa, they call her Isa most of the time, Piccini. I don't know, how would you pick? perfect bodies, beautiful face. What are you going to do? I don't know how the judges make that final call. I would never want to have to be in that position. I also want to say fitness is probably going to come down. We haven't seen routines for fitness yet, for any of you who do follow it, but probably going to be Missy Truscott, the reigning Olympia champ. Tim's going to be Bumstead challenger since Brian seems to be dropping the ball. Nick's bodyweight on stage. I didn't ask Matt. I'm guessing it was around 250. Whoever wins Arnold Classic, they're going to need that money prize. Nick Walker, look. Nick Walker got a great team on his side, but Steve Kuklo, Tim's going to challenge for it. Yeah, the thing with Tim's, I think he has probably the best upper body in the Classic Physique division. Legs, just they still don't match. And, you know, some people would argue, Classic Physique, they shouldn't have massive legs. That's bodybuilding. It's okay to be a little upper body dominant in Classic. I don't know if I buy it. I don't know. I don't know what I would do in that situation. What were you saying? Was it something about 212? What was that? Say it again. Type it again. Because these things, they come right off. I'm not on my... If I was on my desktop at home, it would be in a little window. I'd be watching. I'd have it up on YouTube on the desktop screen in front of me while I was using the phone, but I don't have that set up here in my hotel room. So, yeah, man. So Classic will come down to those two. When are they going to add 212? Well, they took 212 away, so I don't think they're going to bring it back. 212 was part of the show for, I don't know, 10 years? No, not that long. I remember the first year they added it was like 2013, I think it was. Flex Lewis won, and we had other winners like Jose Raymond won it, Hidetada Yamagishi won it, Kamal El-Garni won it. And then, you know, I think there was only, the 212 division at the Arnold only lasted about 5 or 6 years. I want to say 5, and then they discontinued it. Nick is short, but that's good for us short guys. Yeah, I agree. Who will win Ron? How much does Nick win? It's $130,000. Why there's no 212? There hasn't been 212 for several years. I just explained it. They weren't getting enough interest from the top competitors, I think was the deal. The top Olympia guys in the 212 division were just focusing on the Olympia. They wouldn't do the Arnold early in the year. So they weren't getting enough interest from the top guys. Terrence Condition, I think he was sharper at the Olympia last year, honestly. From the back, I think he's dead on condition. From the front, oh man, just a smidge off the best I've seen him. Why they ran out of money for 212? No, they didn't run out of money. I mean, it's not a money issue on you and Nick the same height. I'm a little taller than Nick, certainly not much taller. I'm not a tall guy. I want to say I'm on somewhere between a half inch and an inch taller, and he's, 1,000 times my size. You can fit my entire body into one of his little nail, this nail right there. You can fit all my body. That's how big he is. Sergio gave up. Yeah, I did think Sergio's midsection was a little thicker and wider than what I remember. He got bigger. He got much bigger overall. It's very, very hard to add overall size to any significant degree without affecting the midsection. Arnold calling out Classic without calves. Man, Arnold says whatever he wants, and he's very particular. He's very particular about posing. He hates to see guys shaking when they're posing. He doesn't like them to go too quickly from one pose to another without holding their poses. Ron and Nick pose down interview. Well, I won't be posing him down. He wins, I definitely will get the winner interview, but no, I will not be posing down against Nick. Does Ian have any chance of placing higher this year? Yeah, I mean, the Olympia is 2 weeks away. And like I said, with Ian, it was an issue of not being full enough today. That's the way it looked to me. You could fix that. He might even fix that for tonight. We'll see in a few hours. He certainly could do it. Happy 300K, thinking Nick was great in posing. He wasn't shaking, yeah. Yeah, Arnold, like I said, Arnold is very, very particular about the posing. Nick going to crack top 5 at the Olympia? Probably. I mean, it's going to be a stacked. So the top 3 at the Olympia, I don't see it changing from last year. The order might shift, but I still think it's going to be Rami winning again. Hadi Choopan will be up there, and Brandon Curry will be up there. They all look crazy. I don't see Nick beating any of those guys. Not yet. Maybe in a year or two. Nick's getting better and better. He's 27 years old. These other guys, Rami's just turned 36, 37. Although he hasn't been doing it that long, really, when you think about it. He's only turned pro in 2013. When Arnold came for commentary, it was all giving off the critics. Yeah, Justin could edge Kukul out for second. Justin's very good, but if the judges saw him that close today to Steve, they would have had him in more callouts with Steve, and they really didn't. Nick managed to taper down his waist for this time. I don't think Nick's waist got smaller. No, I don't. I'm sorry. Hi from Iraq. What's up, Iraq? Danny Union from the Classic Physique division, the reigning New York Pro, originally from Iraq. Great. I like Danny a lot. DANI. I don't think it would have mattered if Bonac was there. He would have been embarrassed by Nick. No. Don't get me wrong. Nick's very, very good, but come on, you're not giving Bonac enough credit for how good he is. Bonac is a two-time Arnold Classic champ. He's a Mr. Olympia runner-up to Brandon Curry year before last, 2019. I honestly think Bonac at or near his best would have won this, and that's no disrespect to Nick. First call out, Ian throwing his arms out, like give him room. Yeah, great show. Wow, this is going too fast. It's going too fast for me to even. I can't even go back. Oh wait, oh can I? Oh, I guess I can. Why the show don't pay more money for their athlete, but Arnold Classic pay 100 first place? It's I don't know. Maybe they don't have enough. Not sure Steve's wife should be on the panel. You talking about Steve Kuklow's wife doing the commentary? Well, she has nothing to do with the judging. She has no influence on the judging. They need her to commentate on the women's divisions because she's got great insight into that. She's a bikini figure. She was a champion herself. You were there in person? Oh, it's going fast. I'm trying to go back. Sorry, guys. How was the lighting? The lighting was fine in person. I don't know why the stream it wasn't. You were there in person. The lighting, yeah, the lighting, it was not dark, the stage lighting from where I was sitting at all. I don't know why the stream looked the way it was. Oh, that was 3 times in a row. Holy crap, how many times did you post it? You think Ian drug pus has something to do with his condition? No, I don't think so. You're still asking about the lighting. Well, that's good. I mean, he could easily be third right now instead of Steve. Oh, second. Ian's got a lot of fans, and rightfully so. He's got a great physique. He looks great. I don't know. Stop spamming. 212 should be in the Arnold. I agree. Well, this year we only had 4 divisions. It was a very, very condensed version of the Arnold. Usually we have every pro division. We have the Expo. We have the Arnold Amateur, which will have up to 1,000 competitors in it. We have all those other sports. Scorecard is not going to be available. No, you're not going to see any scores from this till Monday on ifbbpro.com. You're not going to see any scores until then. Might even be Tuesday. But that's where they put the score sheets up. You're not going to see that tonight. It certainly wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. They don't put scores up after judging, man. Not till the show's all over, and usually not for a couple days. Do I think Nick has what it takes to beat Rami or even Hadi? No, not right now. Will he eventually? Probably. Hadi has a quality of muscle to him with the density and the detail, that muscle maturity that even Rami doesn't have. And, how would Nick beat Rami? Is he going to outsize him? No, come on. Rami's like, I don't know what he's going to weigh this time, but Rami's not going to be outsized by Nick Walker. He's not beating him now. You guys are great fans, but, you got to be realistic too. He's very good. He's well on his way up the top. Probably going to win the Arnold Classic, which is, come on, guys. That's a title it's been held by Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Kevin Levrone, Sean Ray. Almost all the Olympia champs of the past 20, 30 years have also won the Arnold. Rami is repeating. Yeah, probably. It's great when you guys get excited about your favorite pro, but, you also have to realize Rami's Mr. Olympia for a reason. Who's going to beat him? In a crazy twist, maybe Nick could get ahead of all these other guys and be the one to push Rami, but I still think Rami's holding on to his title. Why Muscular Development be a official one and only? What were you saying? Journalists for Mr. Olympia and other? Why aren't we, or why we're not? There's not one official. Why aren't we? Because there's other media outlets. There's NPC News. There's Digital Muscle. There's Wings of Strength. There's all these other people. Akim and Bonac went to Abdullah. At least Akim made it to Arnold. Yeah. Well, Akim lives here in the U.S., so he had no travel issues, obviously. Good question, Eddie. What was Eddie's question? Do I think Nick had an issue with his back lat spread? No, I don't think so. It looked fine. You're in denial. Rami is repeating. Are you worried Nick Walker will end up like Dallas McCarver? The rate of improvement is scary but concerning. You know, you're assuming that Nick's doing very, very reckless things, and that might not be the case. You know, I don't know what he does or doesn't do, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's nothing as extreme as what you might assume it might be. People find that hard to believe. And I'm not saying bodybuilders, pro bodybuilders don't use large amounts of these things. I'm not going to blow smoke up your asses that way, but you know, I've known people with regular genetics that try to compensate for their average genetics by using tons and tons of stuff, and they don't look like Nick Walker. So Nick could be using what your average regional NPC competitor is using, and you'd say, no, he must be using 10 times that because look how big he is. Well, he's got the genetics to be that big. Your average guy doing the New Englands or the Southern States or the whatever, some regional show, they don't have those kind of genetics. What else we got? Can Ian stop giving himself a wedgie on stage? Well, he's trying to show his glutes. Nick, top 3, Olympia, easy? Well, if he's top 3, he's got to beat either Hadi or Brandon. Is he going to beat Hadi or Brandon? I don't know, guys. I mean, I appreciate your support of him. I do, and I think very highly of Nick Walker and his physique. Do I think he's going to do that well, top 3 at the Olympia this year? I'm not saying it's impossible. Anything's possible, but like I said, he'd have to beat a couple guys who are just phenomenal. Like Hadi. Don't sleep on Hadi Chupan, man. Hadi's very, very good. Does Nick have the best back double bicep right now? It might be. It's pretty damn great. I prefer Logan. Says I don't think Nick is enough to bet on Rami. Abdullah Jaweed, I prefer Logan's than Raf. He's tall, conditioned, very good structure. There's such a wide variety of physiques in classic physique. You have tall guys, you have short guys, you have bigger guys, you have smaller guys. It's really there's so much diversity in classic. I don't know. It's very tough to judge. Brandon is rounder but softer. Yeah, but he could get in. You're saying he can't get in condition? He's been in great condition before. Nick will beat Brandon in his legs. Yeah. I mean, you guys give Brandon Curry some respect. The guy was Mr. Olympia. Granted, did he beat Phil Heath to be Mr. Olympia? No, but he won the Mr. Olympia. He's very, very good, Brandon. Don't disrespect him by thinking he's not capable of beating Nick. Come on now. Protein brand. Oh, come on, guy. Where are we at? For 22-2, Arnold, people should consider bringing mainstream media. Freddie, you think that people they can't bring in these mainstream media outlets? They have to be the ones who want to do it. It's not like the Arnold promoters say, "Hey, ABC," because they used to cover the Arnold. It was on NBC several times. It was on ESPN several times. Hasn't been on since the 90s, and I don't see that changing. It's not a sport that most people want to watch. People love watching football, basketball, baseball, hockey. They don't. People, something like golf, which I think is like the most boring thing in the world to watch. I can't watch golf. But millions and millions of people watch golf. Tennis. I think tennis is boring. Millions of people watch tennis. I'd rather watch bodybuilding, but clearly most of the world isn't like us that would want to watch it. It's just, luckily we have these streams and YouTube and other outlets like that. What else we got? Fabian Mayer. Yeah, Fabian looked great. What's my prediction for Persian Wolf on this year's Mr. O? I think Hadi could be as high as second for sure. I don't see him beating Rami, just because Rami's a half a foot taller. He's got like 50 pounds on him, 60 pounds on him. He's just a much bigger man. Hadi does have superior muscle quality, more muscle maturity, separation, striations, fine details, which was a quality we saw with Phil Heath. Phil Heath didn't win all those Olympias just because he was big and had nice shape. He had that special degree of detail that you rarely see that, and Hadi has that. I think Sergio can come back and make top 4. Sure he can. Sergio just needs to drop some water, and judging was over at like 12:30. He's not going to be on stage till 7:30 or 8:30. That's plenty of time to drop water. I've seen it done many, many times, so I don't doubt that Sergio can come back. Much, much tighter looking. Love your reports. Thank you. What do you think about Bonac versus Nick Walker? I still think Bonac would have beat him. Just my opinion. It's, William has tremendous muscle quality too, muscle maturity, a lot of roundness to his muscles. And Nick's not as round. Nick's massive. Don't get me wrong, massive. Bonac is no joke. Do you guys even know what Bonac looks like? Go on YouTube and Google, type in William Bonac posing routine from any of the last, 3 or 4 Arnold Classics or Mr. Olympia contests. Bonac is very, very good, guys. I think you're underestimating him. How did Missy Truscott look? Physique-wise, Missy, I have no doubt Missy's going to win the physique round that they had today. I bet she got first place from every judge. She blows everyone away in that. Sergio's gut was all over. Bonac needs to get rid of the gyno. I'm sure he'll take care of that. Bonac has that gyno. Yeah, we're talking about that. Can Bonac beat Nick's conditioning? Yeah, Bonac's been in great condition. I'm not saying he gets in better condition, but like I said, he's got more muscle maturity, which Nick is getting more and more of, all the time. If Hadi and Phil were at their best, who would you pick? Oh, Phil. There's nobody competing right now that Phil Heath at his best wouldn't beat. Nobody. He's beaten all those guys before. Military police, good. What? Oh, you're asking about a protein brand? I've never heard of that. What do you think of the recent Grimes updated picks? Can he break top 6? Probably not. Sorry. It's a very, very crowded top 6. Bonac is a beast. Yeah, thank you. Is the lack of seasoned professionals making this Arnold quite disappointing? Something like this year's New Yorker. I thought it was a great lineup. Akeem can't seem to nail. Akeem condition is like better and better at some shows. Let's be honest, Phil Heath would destroy Nick Walker. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. If you think for a minute that Phil Heath at his best wouldn't beat all these guys, let alone Nick, not just Nick, all these guys. The Phil that we've seen the past couple Olympias. Maybe some of you don't recall how good. Maybe you're very new to all this. You never really saw Phil Heath at his best. First couple Olympias he won, even the last one that he took second to Jay Cutler at, dude, Phil was nuts. Huge, round, great shape, crazy condition. Yeah, Phil was no joke, man. I think some of you guys are like, you're on crack. Kim's gyno removal is visible, so now it's not the gyno, it's the scar. Where Phil go from here? Phil just announced he's not doing the Olympia, so I don't think we're going to see Phil again. If Sean Roden were to come back, can he beat Rami? Well, he beat Rami many times, several times at least, so yeah, of course he could. Where do I place Hollingshead? I think James will be top 5, top 6, definitely. I think James looks awesome right now. Hollingshead89 is his Instagram if you want to check him out. James. Phil Heath would smoke everyone right now, no contest, that's right.